We have the standard Land Rover style shock turrets here, and these cone ones they're made from 2-3mm metal that's pressed and then welded together, spot welded I think. These are okay, and the reason I put these on is because I had tubular turrets fitted to this vehicle before it was stripped down, and they were poorly made, very cheaply designed and produced, and they corroded really quickly. I think they were zinc plated or like Sheridized, and it was just a bit disappointing. So because of the way we're building the entire Land Rover to be as though it came from Land Rover itself, we're trying to keep it quite standard. And I thought, well, I'll put the old school kind of cone shock turrets on, and it'll just look okay. I went for galv ones because these do rust quite badly. So I was fairly happy with that decision, but then we had some comments on the forum post we're running for the build, which quite rightly said, hang on a minute, you're trying to do this better than Land Rover, which is our ultimate goal. And you've put these old school closed shock turrets on. Inside of there it fills up with rust, and it's not the best option you could have gone for. And you know what? They were right. What was recommended to us were Gwyn Lewis type shock turrets. These are made by Gwyn Lewis 4x4.
We're fitting these Gwyn Lewis shock turrets because, firstly, they're much stronger. Gwyn Lewis have designed these to be suitable for challenge events and expedition over land vehicles, and they're made of a 6mm steel, a lot more material there, very strong. They've been galvanised, which gives us long-term protection against corrosion. The build quality is far superior to any other product I've seen on the market for something like this. For example, the welding is absolutely beautiful, the galvanising is really good quality, and it's been dressed up so there's nothing you have to do. You literally unwrap it and you can fit it straight away. The open sides allow you to get a power washer in to clean out and maintain the shocks, and you can also replace your shocks without having to remove the turrets after you've fitted these. Also, there's one of these turrets to suit everyone. There's a standard height turret and a 2-inch extended one, and both of these can be supplied with or without dislocation cones built in. First, we're lifting the chassis to free the spring from its seat. Then we can remove the aftermarket turret ring that we fitted before, and we'll replace it with a matching Gwyn Lewis heavy-duty turret ring, again very well made. The easiest way to do this on a assembled vehicle is to remove the shock nut that's on the lower of the damper. Then you can remove the access panel and the wheel arch liner, and then if you unbolt the turret, you can lift the turret and shock out as a complete assembly. You're then able to remove the old turret ring, though that might require you to use a pry bar because of the corrosion that seizes it in place sometimes.
I'm going to remove the 4 nuts that secure the turret ring in place. 13mm socket. If you were doing this on a car, you might find it easier with an extension, but I'm not. So once we've got it to that stage where the nuts have been removed, then we can just give it a little wiggle and lift that out. That's why it's easier if you leave your shock in, because you can just pull the whole lot out as one assembly, and the ring too, that's come out. If this was your chassis, then you could clean up this area while you've got access to it. Always a good idea, so you haven't got salt and muck and dirt in there. And then we can fit our heavy duty turret rings from Gwyn Lewis. The quality of these is spot on. When I fitted the shock turrets from the aforementioned company, they required a bit of filing because the galv was in these holes, which is a normal thing, but it's just annoying. And I've not had that problem with Gwyn Lewis. They've just prepared everything themselves, so when you get it, it's literally ready to fit. And I like how you get a little bit of instruction even in the packages. With the turret ring, we've got a nice little slip here that tells us the torque settings for the nuts, which is just, it's just a nice comprehensive package. Then I can slide the turret ring into place, so. And those, as I mentioned, fit first time, absolutely spot on. The company have drilled out the holes for us and it's a really pleasing fit. And with the included lock nuts we can then just fasten those down. There's 4 of those. Now, ordinarily we recommend copper grease, but we were speaking to Gwyn and he recommended moly grease instead. Now you see, the difference is that this doesn't have a metallic compound in it like copper slip does. So theoretically, you're not going to have any galvanic reaction from the copper itself. So it's a non-metallic grease that we can use as an anti-seize compound. So we'll put that on the bolts and give that a try. This is available on the Gwyn Lewis website and you can get grease guns to easily apply this if you're doing a big job like a rebuild. Then using a small torque wrench, we'll set the torque to 24 Newton meters or 17.7 foot-pounds of torque, which isn't very much at all. Don't forget, always grab a torque wrench by the handle. So 24 Newton meters is just nicely nipped up. Now, really cool benefit of fitting these open-sided shock turrets, in addition to the ones we've already mentioned, we can remove and refit shock absorbers without taking the turret off. So a shock absorber will actually just slip in there, and then all we have to do, fit our bushes and the damper washers and then the top nut. And that will save you a considerable amount of time if you ever need to replace the shock absorber. So, would I recommend these Gwyn Lewis shock turrets? Absolutely, hands down, yes. They are one of the easiest items I've ever bought for a Land Rover to fit, and they just work perfectly. The manufacturing and finish, as I've said, is brilliant. The galvanising is really good quality. It's been cleaned up, filed and drilled out, ready for us to put straight onto the vehicle, and they offer numerous benefits such as being able to examine the condition of our dampers, to be able to clean them, and also to be able to fit and refit them much easier than the standard style. Also, they're a lot stronger. So overall, a fantastic product. Check them out at gwynlewis4x4.co.uk.